Welcome to one in a series of videos based on the book Guerrilla Marketing for a Bulletproof Career by Guerrilla Marketing founder J. Conrad Levinson and me, Andrew Knightlick. Today's video is about identifying bubbles and avoiding them so that they don't end badly for you if you come late. For more information about the book, please go to bulletproofcareer.com and you'll learn about lots of great free bonuses that you get when you have the book. Today's video comes from part 2 out of 4 parts in the book, 13 Perspectives to Control the Career Battlefield. Let me just read you these perspectives quickly so you know what they are. Lemming and bubble radar comes first. We'll talk about that one here. There's the market researcher, key perspective to have in your career. You always want to match your talents and passion to demand. There's the investor, asking, is this opportunity solid? The risk manager or oil driller, asking, how can I maximize my upside and minimize my downside? There's the chess master, always asking, what's my best next move and considering lots of potential moves. The negotiator and deal maker asks, how can I gain an edge? The talent scout wants to know, who can help me win? Who do I need on my team? The business developer is always looking at building long-term relationships based on trust and value. The politician, how do I gain more power? The influencer, what's in it for them that gets me what I want too? The leverage builder, how can I achieve more with less effort? The improvisational actor, how can I use creativity and resourcefulness to get what I want? That's a key perspective in today's economy. And finally, number 13, the drill sergeant, how do I give myself a kick in the pants when required? So with that, let's talk about lemming and bubble radar, which apparent opportunities will end soon and badly for those who come late. The fact is that bubbles come faster and faster in our economy. Let me give you a quick history of bubbles. The first well-known bubble was the tulip craze in the 1600s when many Dutch families lost their entire life savings by paying as much as the value of a house for a tulip bulb. In 1720, we had the South Sea Company where investors lost everything after bidding up shares in a supposedly no-risk, can't-lose company focused on trade in the New World. In 1848 to 1854, we had the California Gold Rush. 1860 to 1873, railroads became a bubble that ended badly with a panic that bankrupted many railroads, taking their investors with them. 1890 to 1905, bicycle companies had a bubble. The industry dwindled from 300 firms in the 1890s to just a handful when cars took over. 1920s, we saw radio companies have a bubble. RCA shares rose from $1 to a high of $573 before falling 95%. 1959 to 1962, electronics companies were hot, and then they weren't. 1975 to 1980, we saw another bubble in gold. 1980 to 1984, we saw a bubble in personal computers, where stock prices fell 50% after a wild ride. 1985 to 1990, Japanese real estate and stocks faced a bursting bubble. 1997 to 2000, all of us remember that one, that was the dot-coms. 2003 to 2007, we saw housing and then stocks again have a bubble. And you could argue that right now we might be in a bubble related to gold as well as a bubble related to social media. So bubbles are coming faster and faster. The question is, how do you recognize a bubble? Well, with respect to Jeff Foxworthy, who did You Might Be a Redneck If, let me do You Might Be in a Bubble If. You might be in a bubble if young fellow business school graduates are flocking there. MBA students are famous for flocking to bubbles. They flock like lemmings. Not everybody, but a lot of MBAs. If you watch where MBAs head, often there's a bubble. You might be in a bubble if a best-selling book is predicting the next big thing. You might be in a bubble if you read about it in a popular business newspaper. In fact, it's almost for sure that if you read about a trend in a popular business newspaper, it's already too late. By the time a journalist learns about it, it's too late for the rest of us. You might be in a bubble if a popular pundit predicts it. You might be in a bubble if pop scientific journals predict it. In fact, you can see here the cover of an old Popular Mechanics magazine that was predicting the hover car. We're still waiting. You might be in a bubble if people start saying this is a permanent change in fundamentals and pricing, like they did with the dot-com stocks and most recently with real estate prices. You might be in a bubble if Aunt Edith or Uncle Skip give you a hot tip. You might be in a bubble if you don't understand it, despite the hype. Warren Buffett says he never invests in anything he doesn't understand, and I think that's good advice for all of us. You might be in a bubble if the trend involves unstable or corrupt countries. I work with an investment banker who sees opportunities all the time in countries, Middle Eastern countries, and he always knows to turn them down. He always knows that they're almost always a scam or a fraud. So be careful of unstable or corrupt countries where it seems like some sort of emerging company or trend is happening. You might be in a bubble if someone you barely know, met online, read about in an advertisement, or heard speak at a free hotel seminar tells you that this is your chance to get in on the ground floor. You might be in a bubble if you see mob psychology at work. People operate in very illogical ways when they work together as a mob. So if you see mob psychology happening, you might want to move out of the way. You might be in a bubble if people are calling it the next great thing since Google, Microsoft, or Apple. Anytime you hear that something is the next great thing and compare it to something that's already been a great thing, you should run the other way. You might be in a bubble if people you previously thought were idiots are getting rich from the trend. If they're getting rich, you know it's about to end badly. So those are some words of wisdom about avoiding bubbles. Again, get the book and please go to bulletproofcareer.com for more information.